And I've got a great question in relation to that.
Okay.
So, hi and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non-natives, like myself, Jendrek.
And myself, Masha.
And we are still two English teachers, I
Still,
bet. Yes.
still,
Who?
who have recorded 100 episodes of their own podcast.
How does
That's
it feel
something to
like?
celebrate.
Yeah, that's something to celebrate. Masha, how does it feel like? Last week, we published the episode number 100, if our calculations are right, because you know
What do you
that the
mean?
counting wasn't, the counting was kind of primitive.
Oh, we changed something along the way, if I remember
Yeah, I mean,
correctly.
remember the
Ah, that
episodes
we had
where we had some.
seasons. Oh my God, we are old. We are
Yeah, that's
dinosaurs. We
true.
had
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
we had some
Season.
seasons and episodes, and then one day we counted all of them, but whether that was the right number or not, who
Ah, it
knows? That would
doesn't
be
matter. We
actually
say it's
interesting.
100, it's 100.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We said
Yeah.
it's 100. So, you have to believe us. All
And
right.
in
So,
us.
yes. So, Masha, how do you feel as an author or a co-author of 100 hours, let's say, more or less, right? Because each episode is around 1 hour. So, how does it feel like? Are you a podcaster now, full-fledged?
No, I'm not. Of course I'm
You're
not.
not?
No.
Why
We
not?
just meet and chinwag. It's not
And we
difficult.
record, and we happen to record it, right?
Happen to record it, yeah.
Yes, yes, that was the idea, but I guess we've had so many great conversations here. Uh First off the record, later recorded,
We
it's
did, but it doesn't make you a great podcaster like Joe Rogan or
yeah, it doesn't make you
Ezra,
a
of
famous
course.
podcast. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't make you a famous podcaster because, there is probably, a way to design a podcast, make it super popular and sought after. But anyway, we are happy with everything we've got, right? With you, dear listeners. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
We could use more
And
listeners and more
of
fame, I
course,
want to
and
say.
more
So,
fame,
as I say,
yes.
we are
Masha,
very
some
happy.
some some product, potentially some
Masha
product
the
placement in the
famous
future.
product
You are
placement
famous in certain circles. Yeah, I mean,
in certain
what comes with fame comes a
what?
great,
Being an
I guess,
ambassador of this and
affluence.
that?
Yeah, yeah,
Affluence. Oh my God, the
yeah.
sweet
We could,
word. The sweet
yeah,
word. Like, just the taste of it. Affluence. Oh, I love it. I love it.
yes. I was listening to a podcast, but I can't tell you the name, for English learners the other day, and right at the beginning of that podcast, there was like a brazen commercial
Of
of a product. I don't know,
which?
or an application. I can't remember now
Ah,
what was it. It was an
not a
application, I
facial
think, for
cream
language learning. No, 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 no. It was something for language learning, obviously, because the podcast
because I
was
could
about.
advertise a facial cream.
Oh, you could, sure.
Yeah,
Maybe I could do it too.
of
Look at
course.
me.
Your acne is gone.
Yes, yes, finally. Oh my God. It's always like that, it's the 100th episode, you prepare for the recording, and then
Yeah,
and then it happens. All
you
right.
prepare for the recording. Yeah, like you
Yes.
do.
All right, great. I must tell you that it feels great coming back to our conversations and to the recordings, to our weekly rhythm of publishing this podcast. And I wanted to ask you one semi-private question.
Are you waiting for my permission?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. After 100 episodes.
So, how many good, not great, but at least good conversations have you had over the summer break?
Oh my God. I definitely had one great conversation with my older son because I
Okay.
managed to meet him after almost 2 years of, not seeing each other.
All right. Wow,
So
that's
that was one. Where are you going with this?
No, I'm asking, because it's rare,
It's
to have a
rare.
good
It's
conversation.
no,
And
but
the
what is a good,
conversations,
for example, my younger son keeps teaching me about gravity, about black holes, about physics, and he's tireless. I mean, we have great conversation. Well, I mean, is it a conversation? Yeah. Well, I don't know
yeah,
much about physics. I've only my knowledge is limited by Interstellar movie. Um, that's
that
that's
is
it.
the source of my knowledge
That
in
is the source
physics,
of my knowledge in physics, and it's very difficult to understand, mind
Yes,
you.
but it's
Yeah,
fascinating too.
yeah. This is still a great story. I watch it sometimes as a aspiring physicist. Sometimes I watch it as an aspiring writer. It's just
Hmm.
endless.
Hmm.
So I don't know, when somebody's trying to explain something to you, teach, is it a great conversation? Does it count?
I guess the only criterion here is your feeling. I mean, does it feel great?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Then I had many, 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 many.
All right. You're lucky, because
Because
I
I
can't
spend
say. I
most of
mean,
my time in my summer house with my son and my cat. Of
all
course,
right,
we talked a lot about
but it's
stars
not
and
always that you're gonna have a great conversation in your
the
own
person you're
family. You know what I
stuck
mean?
with
Y- Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
on a desert island.
we talk about daily matters. We talk about, what we need to buy or where we need to
Yeah,
go
not
and
with your
so on.
children. With your husband, yes, with your
Okay, yeah,
wife.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean spouses, right? But yeah, you're right. But children,
That's
my
what
children are,
children are for. You can talk with them about stars, about warp engines and many
but
other
they need
things.
to have at least some kind of abstract thinking developed, right? So you can't really talk about it with 7-year-old, can you?
Yeah, mine is 14, so I'm
Oh
cool.
yeah, you're lucky.
I'm cool.
All right,
Well,
but
I'm
yeah, I
lucky.
just
You'll get there. What do you mean I'm lucky? You'll get there. Wait, just wait and see.
no, I just wanted to say that to have a meaningful, great conversation, it's a blessing, I mean,
Hmm.
it's rare. It's like, these mushrooms in the forest,
Which mushrooms?
edible mushrooms.
Well, if
They
you
are
will
rare
listen.
and hard to find.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's a bit like that, or like
I
truffles.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that we are back because I have a feeling that, each time we meet and we or of course
But I
together with our
guess
guests here, it just feels great. It just feels great. So definitely it goes beyond just blabbing and but the feeling that it leaves, the aftertaste, it's great. It's just great. All
you
right.
advertising our show
Kinda.
secretly.
I mean, I hope that the feeling is mutual. That is, we feel like that. Our listeners feel the same, and of course, the participants in our conversations feel the same. Yeah. So hopefully, it works like that. So a good conversation is a good conversation, and luckily, we are recording these good conversations. All right,
We. Mhm. Sorry.
I'm done here.
You're done. Wow, that's very unusual.
Yeah, I just want yeah. I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say that the podcast that you are listening and that we are recording, it's just something that is rare in general.
It is. I think
However,
it's one
however, Masha,
of a
however,
kind.
Masha, the application or the video that you sent me, where the AI, again, we had to touch AI. AI turns scientific papers into a conversation based kind of an exchange. I don't know what is that actually.
Well, they
It's
call
just
them
terrific.
podcasts, conversations. That's what
Okay,
they.
but the purpose of that is to absorb the knowledge from a boring text. We
Hmm.
assume, right, that
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
scientific papers are kind of boring and
Difficult to
it's
read.
tiring,
Difficult to
difficult
read.
to read. So they turn it into a dialogue, and one that is quite interesting. It has its dynamics, it has its,
Yeah, yeah.
like a conversation. It's fantastic, and it shows you also the power of conversation, right? That you learn better in a conversation rather than a monologue or reading. I know that reading a text is kind of a dialogue between you and the author, but it's not as easy, right? As listening to a podcast or an
But on the
exchange.
other hand, there are difficult things that you just have to do, and you have to do them. That's it. If you turn every serious, difficult thing into a pleasant, enjoyable conversation,
Then,
well, it's the medium. It's the medium, right? Here, the
yeah, the
medium
medium is the
is
message. Yes,
kind of what is it? An entertainment platform. I mean,
yes.
so you don't maybe treat it as seriously. You don't put so much effort into it. I mean, if I have to read a scientific paper, I'll prepare myself. I sit down, I'll have, pen and paper to make notes and stuff like that. And I'll be focused. I'll know what I'm doing. But if I'm listening to a podcast, I mean, if I had to do my own research or write my own scientific paper, and I would
Hmm.
be using this scientific paper as a source, or
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to listen to a podcast. I would really want to sit down and read it,
Yeah, it's a
no
bit
matter how
like,
hard.
yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a little bit like reading a book versus listening to an audiobook. I mean, there's something that you definitely lose
Definitely
on the
lose. Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you
you're right.
don't just
But
sit down and only listen to an audiobook. The format, the medium,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
will be doing it somewhere on the
Yeah,
go.
you'd be driving or
Yeah,
yeah,
hope not driving, but
why not? I mean, this is when you have time. But you're right. Reading or maybe consuming scientific papers in that kind of form could perhaps lead to I wonder actually, worse comprehension of the overall idea or better? Because again, it's kind of made into these maybe not bite size, but you know, kind of easily digestible form. I don't know. I'm too stupid to answer that.
so you think that people, because not everybody can make sense of a scientific paper. Yes, let's start with
Yeah,
this.
yeah, sure,
So do you
sure.
think people who cannot make sense of a scientific paper will be able to understand the ideas there if they listen to a podcast rather than, sit down and read it? I mean, if they
It
can't.
reminds me a little bit, the I'm going to link what Masha sent me, okay? So that everybody knows what we are
It's
talking about.
illuminated by Google.
Oh yeah, Google has, yeah, you're right. Google, it's Google's brainchild. But what I wanted to say is that, um, sorry, Masha, what was your question again?
You are the kind of person who cannot get through a scientific paper as far as I understand. You lose the track of
Yeah, yeah.
conversation.
But um, I just want to say that if no, I don't know what I wanted to say, honestly, I forgot.
A person who cannot, make sense of a scientific paper
Yeah, I know. Oh,
because
yeah,
it's a
yeah. Thanks,
difficult
thanks a lot.
text would
Thanks a
be
lot.
able
Yeah,
to comprehend it.
it's similar to inviting experts to a TV or radio studio, and asking them some questions that the audience would like to know, would like to have clarified, but the experts know
In
much more,
layman's
of course. But
language.
yeah, exactly. So, is it a bad thing to have experts in the studio asking them about whatever diseases or other problems? I don't know. They simplify things. It's true,
Mhm.
but whether they dumb it down or dumb them down, I don't know. Because that's how I see this
It's a
Google
very
Illuminate
difficult
project.
question.
It's
On the
kind
one
of
hand, it's
it's kind
nice.
of
for people to get some basic ideas about different things. But on the other hand, it very often in the modern world creates this illusion in these people that they know something, but they don't. Just because you've listened to an expert and think you understand because he dumbed it down for you doesn't make
Mhm.
you an expert. But very often people, uh, you know, believe that they do.
Mhm. Well, I don't know.
Uh,
I would have to test it myself. There are but you have to admit, so many papers are so boring, and perhaps they do contain interesting findings, but to get through the whole text, with the footnotes and everything, it's just too much. So I don't know. I'd have to check it. Is that actually a service available to everybody, or is it?
it is,
Uh,
but you have to be on a waiting list or something like that.
Oh,
It's
I
not.
see. Okay, so it's still being tested. Yeah, because there are so many scientific papers also in our domain, in the domain of foreign language learning and teaching. Perhaps, if that was
Finally, you
made,
can know, you will be able
yeah,
to find out what these papers are all about. Yeah.
yes, if that
Ooh,
was turned into a podcast, who
with
knows? Maybe
farting noises
with farting noises. Yeah,
and round
that'd be great.
one, and this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Masha, with that being said, how about we go to the old school thinking out loud? This is what, after all, the show is about.
This is
So
what it
we
was
kind of,
supposed to be
yeah,
about. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we kind of, we leave our personal life, we leave even, I don't know what, everything that is around us, and we become just talking brains.
Again, pressure, pressure, pressure. Okay.
All right. I'd like to ask you one question. So how about you playing the round one sound?
Round one.
All right, good.
Well, that was not very good.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
that was good. That was good. That was
Okay.
good.
Okay.
It's better than the
Then
original
the sound
sound
you
somehow.
have. Uh-huh.
Yes. Great. Now brace yourself because the question is difficult, and but I hope it's also something you can relate to, especially today.
What's about today?
What's the
Okay.
difference
Mhm.
between tired and exhausted?
Oh no, come on. Are you kidding me? That's what we
No,
teach
I'm not kidding.
intermediate students, that exhausted is just an extreme adjective of tired.
And that's it.
That's
So
it.
extreme tiredness is
Yeah,
exhaustion.
that's what we teach them.
Can you get tired of watching TV?
Of course you can, if you watch it
But
all
I
day.
mean, is that tiredness?
It's mental tiredness. It borders with boredom, right? But you can
Hmm.
be tired because you're bored. No?
Can
You
you be
mean
exhausted?
physically, of course. So,
Can you be exhausted by TV or or social media for that matter?
well, mm, there is this very famous TV series called Black Mirror.
Mhm.
Are you aware of its
I'm
existence?
aware of its existence. I haven't watched, but
Do
I'm
you
aware of its
know the
existence.
concept?
The concept is to wait a second. Is that this kind of dystopia of the future that
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
in the present
So
or
every
something like that?
episode is very disturbing because it's not like
Mhm.
Star Wars, you know that it's a possibility
Yeah,
and
yeah.
quite, not so distant. And
Hmm.
I I
Sorry,
couldn't
you mean
bring
Star
myself.
Wars is a possibility?
No, of course not. Come on. But actually, who knows?
It sounded like that. All right, good. So I understand. It's
Ah,
like it's our life, but somehow
Star
distorted
Wars.
and yeah, yeah. All right, I get the concept. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean it was too I couldn't bring myself to watch the whole. series, I only watched one episode. And in this
Mm-hmm.
episode, the idea is that people, well, the main character, and I think a lot of people, they are locked in these little cubicles, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
your, the place you live in.
Mm-hmm.
And to be to create, let's say, value for the society and to get food, as far as I understand, they have to either produce energy by cycling
Mm-hmm.
or they have to watch commercials, porn,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they are shown.
Mm-hmm.
They have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot even close their eyes because there are cameras somewhere and they can see if the person's
Mm-hmm.
watching or not.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was really exhausted of watching this crap all the time.
I see. Yeah, but that then again, there is that physical aspect of it, right? That you can't close your eyes, you can't.
I don't think so.
Uh,
No, I don't think so. It's not the only
mm-hmm.
the physical art because he was lying on his couch all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can get exhausted even by, eating ice cream. And I actually was shown a proof when I was a child. I boasted that I could eat, all day. And my
Mm-hmm.
grandpa just said, eat as many as you want. And I barely managed to finish three, I think. And then I was like, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
can get exhausted by watching TV.
So,
And you think not?
yeah, I think actually you can, but I was wondering if these concepts of tiredness and exhaustion, if they are all about scale. I mean,
Mhm.
this extreme tiredness, whether it automatically becomes exhaustion or whether exhaustion is something else. Why am I asking?
Mhm.
One of the very few books I read over the summer was a collection of essays by now let me uh, pronounce his name properly. Uh, Byung-Chul Han, I think. It's a Korean philosopher who was either, sorry, I haven't checked his bio, but who was either born in Germany or lives in Germany and writes in the German language, right?
So you
So,
read them in the German language?
no, I read them in Polish. First, I
Mm.
mean, first I read the Non Things. That was also a collection of his essays in English. That was in English, and I thought, wow, this guy is pretty clever. And then I bought a collection of his essays of various kind in the Polish language. And now, to um, cut the long story short, because I think I don't even perhaps I'm not even able to summarize what he's talking about. But generally, his claim is like uh, we live in a culture of can, that is in German können. You can do something.
Mhm.
Everything you do, you can, right? Just like Barack Obama had this. Yes, we can. All right. Before there was a culture of should, sollen in German. You know, so you should do this, you should do that. In other words, in the past, you had a boss or a master, depending on the time, right? Who was telling you, do that, go there, fetch me this, fetch me that. Now we live in times where we don't have our masters, but we are our own masters. So in the culture of I can or in the culture of we can, all right, he calls that a society of possibility, I think.
Possibility or
He
ability?
can't I can't
Okay,
remember
okay. So,
Masha.
so
It's
sorry,
it's not
sorry.
it's not that important, but he
Okay.
has
Hmm.
some concepts that he developed. But um, just to tell you that right now, fewer and fewer of us have bosses, like someone who's able to tell you do it and you have to do it, right? But we become uh, kind of unlimited by what we can do. We can do everything. You can fly there. You can go around the world. You can do whatever you want, right, with your life, more or less. Of course, this is propelled by the culture, the pop culture, the TV, and everything. And in this sort of culture, you are your own boss,
Hmm.
and you, as a person, as a
And the
being,
world is your
become a
oyster.
project. Yeah, you become a project, and you realize this project tirelessly because since there are no limits, you know you work harder. He's also an anti-capitalism kind
I
of
can
guy.
imagine. Yeah.
So he's criticizing our culture and the
Hmm.
modern state of capitalism in the sense that capitalism was clever. There used to be bosses telling people in factories, no, now you work, blah blah blah, using whips and so on. But the system found out that, hey, it's actually more effective if these guys control themselves. And
Empowerment.
yes, this
Ah,
kind of
yes.
empowerment, and in this way you are the harshest boss imaginable for yourself. Because you push yourself harder
That's
than
really
any boss.
clever. That's really
Yeah,
clever.
because if there is an obligation uh, put on you from outside, you will try and
Try and find a
wriggle
way to dodge
in.
it.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're the one who's putting these obligations, well, there's nowhere to run, right?
Hmm.
So I said to cut the long story short, but you see, it's taking some time to explain. But he says that in this culture of we can, let me translate like that, können, you the result is exhaustion, not tiredness. You get tired in this culture of Zolen, where you're simply tired, of working, of doing what the boss told you to do or whatever, amassing crops or whatever. But in our culture, there is the prevailing feeling is exhaustion because there's too much of everything. It's too much simply. You can't you know uh, do as much as you could or as you want, right? Because there's too much to do.
Hmm.
And so and here's my question, whether there is a difference between exhaustion and tiredness, and whether let me make sure I pronounce his name correctly. Byung-Chul Han, if I'm not Byung-Chul Han, yes. If Byung-Chul Han is has any point, and if exhaustion
But
is
I
actually
still
this
stand
feeling.
by what I said. You said it yourself. You are a harsher boss than the boss that you had
Yeah,
before.
than any
So,
boss, any
of
tyrant,
course, you can make
who
yourself
could be.
more and more and more tired to the point of exhaustion. You run yourself to the ground, into the
Okay,
ground.
so mhm.
What is the phrase?
But what about this feeling when, like when you eat, for example, and let's stick to ice cream, and you eat, I don't know how many, how much of ice
Well, it's
cream
not
you're able to eat.
tiredness per se. It's just you're fed
It's not
up with
tiredness,
it.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
exhaustion. No, it's exhaustion, is it?
Exhaustion.
Mhm.
Well, because exhaust, this word is a very nice word. You use it, for example, I've exhausted all my, I don't know, resources.
Mhm.
Exhausted. It means
Mhm.
I've used up
Used up.
everything
Yeah.
and there's nothing left. So it's an
Mhm.
utmost this point of tiredness. When you're so tired, you have absolutely no energy. You've exhausted
Ah, no
all your.
energy. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The kind of the resources are exhausted. I remember playing a computer game. What was it? Banished or whatever. Something like a strategy game where where you have to plant crops, and prepare for the winter and then survive and so on. And
Minecraft?
I remember that. No, no, it was a Minecraft. It was called Banished. It's a very very
Mhm.
clever game made by one guy only. And this kind of a studio with one guy who was probably pushing himself, that is the fruit of the culture of weekend, banished. One guy pushing himself to finish the game alone. And he did it. Was it good? But I remember the word exhausted, when you had a field and some crops on it, and then if you collected all the crops, it said the field is exhausted. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's
It gave
exhausted
you
because you
all it
collected.
could. Yeah.
Yeah, it gave you all it could. Yes. All right. So, okay. So maybe at the end of the day, this kind of simple distinction based on the scale of tiredness, maybe it's correct. Maybe this is correct because let's say that why does he say why does Byung-Chul Han say that you were tired in the culture of you should, or we should, because someone was telling you, but you were never giving 100%.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
were
yeah.
saving this 1% or
Yeah.
2% for yourself, right?
Right.
All right.
Do you think you can get
So
tired of
perhaps
watching TV
not physically, but of course there is even a
physically?
phrase, I'm sick and tired of something, right? Of these commercials, or I'm sick and tired, right?
Hmm.
Of something. So yeah, in that figurative sense, yes, you can get tired
Even
of it.
even
But
if
it's
it's
not,
Interstellar.
even if it's Interstellar or The Lord of the Rings, extended director's
Extended
cut.
director's cuts.
Yeah,
Oh, they're my favorites. Oh,
yes.
they're cool.
But all right, so it wasn't after all such a big deal to answer. I mean,
Um, but you have a way of always making me feel like, oh, when you tell how, oh, I've read a new book, this book, that book, and now you said one of few books I've read this summer, and I was like, yes, maybe I finally read more book than him. And then you say, but this Chuang Zhongxing philosopher, that's it, You
what?
read
I
only
mean,
one book by some, I can't
and
even
it's
pronounce his
honestly, I
name,
read, I read
philosopher.
maybe, I read maybe two
Collection of
books.
essays.
And it's a collection, so it's not even a book.
What?
It's
Well,
like a collection of essays.
but no, these are philosophical essays. You can read them
Yeah, I mean,
like all summer and read them
yeah,
again and
exactly.
again.
Exactly. Well, it wasn't a thick book. But then again, I wasn't a reader over the summer. I don't know. I
It's like this
disconnected
quality
myself.
over quantity.
Yeah,
So you beat
maybe.
everybody else again, and you're again a smart ass.
No, I'm not, because I'm
People
not even
read,
able to.
I don't know, Bridget Jones's Diary during the summer, and you read some what
And they're better off than
Chinese
myself,
philosopher.
But
What?
not. It's a Korean,
Okay,
but
sorry,
but
Korean, Korean,
it's
Korean,
he's
Korean.
German. I guess he's German
I'm
of
confused
Korean
now.
origin.
Korean, German,
German of
Chinese.
Korean origin. Right.
Okay.
But no, the point is that I don't even know what I read. I just have some kind of an aftertaste. I'm also kind of frustrated because of this. Because you read something that's clever, something that's something that is important, and then you just have some kind of a shadow of a thought afterwards. Just what's left is just very, very little in comparison to what you read. And it's often like that with me. So uh I looked at my bookshelf yesterday, because I was trying to choose a new book to read. And then I see, oh, there's this book called oh my goodness, I forgot. The Coming Wave. It was about the AI, coming and taking over our workplaces, everything. And then I was like, what was the book about? What was the main argument? I don't know. I simply don't know. But I think it was a good book, by this guy, again, an Indian with a strange surname, but no, it was Mustafa Suleiman, I guess. Yeah, Mustafa, not so strange. It was Mustafa Suleiman who used to work for Google and who's now, I guess, again employed by either OpenAI or one of these big AI companies.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was when I was reading this, it was shocking, but now I can't even remember what was so shocking in the
That
book. So
AI will take over.
here I am. Yeah.
That's the main message, probably.
Yeah, but
No?
probably it's more nuanced than that, I mean, that kind of message you can, read from the writings on the walls, in the cities.
Really? There are writings on
Yeah,
the
I
walls
mean,
like
well,
that
let's
in
imagine there
France?
is something. AI will take. No, sorry, but maybe, you see sometimes, the end is near or something like that. It's not the point, that kind of message is nothing. You
Not
want
in
to have
Ukraine.
something a thought that is more nuanced, right? But I must tell you now, Masha, also referring to our, let's say, previous conversation, that if I had a conversation
With
about the
somebody
book
about the book, of
with,
course you would
yeah, with
remember.
somebody,
Yeah.
with
Who?
with with let's say an expert, or someone who could uh, summarize this book and capture its main points, then I guess I would remember it for longer.
I don't agree.
I just
Even if you
hope
had a
you don't agree.
conversation with me about this book,
Mhm.
even if I
No, but
haven't
not
read the
you,
book,
as an average user, but average reader, but you as someone who really understands all these
no,
concepts.
no, no, no. No, you would remember it better even if you had to explain it to somebody who hasn't read the book and knows nothing about it. Any action, anything you do with this, I mean, knowledge, let's call it knowledge, information right now, not knowledge yet. To turn it into knowledge, you need to, I mean, you can write a summary, post it online. You can talk to somebody, but anything you do will, increases the chances of you remembering it. And if it's really powerful, it will be built into your, I don't know, system of what?
Outlook. Yeah.
Outlook
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
life, yeah, on
Uh-huh.
everything. That's
Okay.
how.
So it's not listening to someone speaking that
No,
makes
it's
it
speaking
memorable, but it's you
yourself.
actually doing.
Yeah, of
Yeah, it
course.
reminds me. It reminds me of my Chinese student Fang, who told me that when he was in high school, his teacher was always asking everybody in the class to write a summary of what they read.
Yeah,
That's clever.
that's clever.
That's clever. I mean, that's clever because you read a book, you read a text, and then you summarize it in your own words. That's very important.
That's
Not like you copy and paste it, from somewhere,
yeah.
but you summarize it. And I remember because he mentioned that when I asked him about this good old question about reading full text and reading a summary.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of
Mm-hmm.
reading the full text? If at the end you only remember exactly what's in the summary, right? But he said that if we all read the same text, but we all write different summaries because we find different things interesting or important or whatever, we understand the text in a different way, basically.
I think it's
Same
more
text.
actually about fiction than nonfiction. All nonfiction books today
Uh,
you can write. I mean, we read the same book, we'll write the same summary, bullet points, this, that.
Perhaps.
But fiction, that's a totally
But what
different.
about philosophy? Like, this Byung-Chul Han.
Ah, okay, that's nonfiction, but that's totally different. Oh no, the philosophy,
Yeah.
it's very different.
Yeah, but I think it's worth summarizing, right? It's not like,
It's
okay,
worth
you will have this.
summarizing, but I'm saying that many nonfiction books today, you will do great just by reading a summary, to be honest.
But why would you do that with with nonfiction? Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yes, with
I thought you
nonfiction.
said fiction. All right.
It's like,
Uh,
it's like many of these books, it's like this idea of turning scientific papers into podcasts. They have maybe one, maybe okay, two, three ideas, and it's so repetitive. They keep, over explaining it to you like you are a 5-year old. That's a lot of nonfiction books today.
American nonfiction.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
There's a certain style. You're right. There's a certain style, but you can't,
You're
of
reading
course.
like the page, I don't know, 10th page, and you're like, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Hmm
Just
hmm
move on.
hmm
But no, no. And this format of, oh, I have a friend or a client, Julie, and she had this problem, and this is how. Jesus
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. Reminds me a bit about the articles that you can often read on Bloomberg or The Economist. Somehow it always starts with John had a farm, and and then you're so there's a particular person, right, who had a particular problem, and then this kind of a zooming out, and that is actually a macro scale problem, right? So they start at the micro scale and they zoom out. All right. Fine, but okay, that's what it is. I was kind of worried, that the question about tiredness and exhaustion will not burn too long, and it did not.
I think we did very well.
All right,
Just
fine.
we need to slowly, because people had a long break. Well, we had a long break, and they need to go back to listening. I mean, 1 hour podcast. No,
All
after
right,
the
you're
summer.
right. You're
Let's
right.
start
You're right. So
slowly
this is
and carefully. 40
all right.
minutes,
Great.
45, then 50, and then
Ah,
90.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and then 2 hours and 3 hours like Joe Rogan finally.
Joe Rogan, 3 hours.
Yeah, some of his shows last for 3 hours. Can you imagine this?
No.
And I don't know, they don't even go out to take a leak.
Um, How do you know? Maybe it's editing.
Maybe, but everything seems smooth. Not that I ever listened to
Then it
3 hours
means
of.
good editing.
Yeah, that is good editing. Yeah, you're right. Well, in that case,
That's that's it for today. Yes.
that's it for today. Thanks, Masha, for
So
meeting me. Thanks
we are
for
back. Yes. Let's just
that's news
remind our
number one.
people.
Yes. Is there anything else we should mention in terms of that technical aspect? I'm still working on our website, studiomentals.com, so it's still sort of unavailable, but it will be soon.
But there are many other ways how you can reach us. If you want to
Yeah,
finally
Toll
leave a
Podcast, by the
comment,
way,
leave a comment.
tolpodcast.com is working. tolpodcast at hotmail.com is the email address.
Do we accept
If you want
guests?
to get in touch,
What is
of
the
course, we
format of
accept
this?
guests.
Who
Yeah, of course, we
can
accept
be
guests.
on the show?
Honestly, anybody, as long as they are humans.
We don't accept AI?
I don't think we accept AI. I mean, would we?
Well,
Well,
then we
maybe,
would have
we
to
should
have, we
record.
will have to have, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 questions per 1 hour episode, because you know how AI
Yeah, you're right.
answers questions.
Yeah, AIs are, yeah, they are
Of course
burned.
I know. Pim, 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 pim.
Yeah.
And that's it.
10-point plan, and that's it. So the
Yes.
difference between tiredness and exhaustion, here we go.
Here you go. Yeah.
All right, fine. Thanks a lot for listening, and we hope to see you again next week.
We hope to get some comments finally.
Oh, yeah, right.
Please.
All right. Share,
Please, people,
comment, share,
leave
comment,
comments.
share comments, and have a beautiful day.
So
Over to you, Masha.
this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.